Hello, everyone. This is Ken, and this is my screencast of my interactive module planning template. Basically, this is going to be essentially a high level overview of what I call the interpersonal relationship life cycle. And while for the purposes of this exercise, this assignment, the main target audience is going to be focused on adults in the corporate working environment. Ultimately, when I get this entire curriculum planned out and each of the three main modules fully realized in their learning context and everything, it will be open and available to anyone who wishes to learn this information that's contained in each of the three elements: communication, relationships, and culture. So, essentially, for this purpose, these individual learning modules for each of the three sections of the interpersonal relationship lifecycle will be housed on a website that I am building in Wix. And that website will also contain additional videos and links and posts to additional information, things like that, that will allow the learner, the participant, to go further into each of the subjects if they wish. So the main learning objective, or the first learning objective, I should say, through high-level introduction to the interpersonal relationship life cycle, participants will be able to correctly identify the fundamental elements of communication. And essentially, I will be guiding, or the participants will be going through this interactive module, and it's going to be focused on communication in general. There may be some elements of various communication styles, such as feedback and effective communication, that will be referenced, but the core of this module will focus on just the fundamental elements of general communication. There will be videos, slides, narration, as well as a little bit of an interactive activity here where they will be able to more like a mix and match activity where the fundamental parts and their definitions or functions will be matched by the participant as well as having a quiz at the end of each module, and this one as well to start, that will break down and reinforce all of the elements and of the instruction material for this particular section. Moving on to the second learning objective. Again, high-level introduction to the life cycle and the completion of the communication segment. Participants will be able to correctly identify what constitutes a relationship. And a lot of people maybe get a little confused when I talk about relationships. I do not mean romantic, or, well, I shouldn't say, I do not mean just romantic. I mean any interaction between one or more people is technically a relationship. And if you really want to get a little existential about it, I suppose you could have a relationship even with something that isn't necessarily a human being. I mean, you can have a relationship with your job, you can have a relationship with your car, your pet, that kind of thing. So that and more will be covered in this section, as well as how relationships are impacted by communication. Again, a second learning module segment. These are all brief modules, but video presentations, slide presentations, definitions, narration, things of that nature, as well as an interactive activity here where it's this time a bit of a drag and drop, where they can choose an example scenario is say might have a good effect on a relationship. An example scenario of an interaction might have, or communication might have, a negative effect on a relationship, things like that. And of course, there will be a quiz at the end of this module, but also we will ask the participants to write a brief paragraph reflecting on their understanding of the ways in which communication influences relationships in their own lives. Get them to start to put this in real context for what it is that affects them, and how they might begin to internalize this information, and see that it's not just sort of academic or theory or whatever. It's like, no, this is legit stuff that you can learn about and start to put into practice in your own life immediately. It is actual, active, ongoing information and material. Learning module, or learning objective rather, 3, getting into the third module here. Again, finalizing the overview of the interpersonal relationship life cycle. We've completed the communication piece, we've completed the relationship piece. Now we're going to put it all together, and the participants will be able to distinguish between the foundational aspects of culture and what are the representational aspects of culture. And those two things are different. That will be explained in here, as well as they will be able to demonstrate how culture is shaped by relationships. So each one of these is building on the next. And that is the essence of the interpersonal relationship life cycle, starting with communication, more of the individual level, then broadening that to relationships, interactions, interactivity, and then how communication affects the relationships that we form, and then how those relationships then go on to create or establish the culture in which we find ourselves. So this, again, the third and final learning module, same situation, same scenario. Video modules, or rather videos in the module, slides, presentation, narration, all of that. Again, an interactive activity here where they will be able to go through a knowledge check, which will take the form of multiple choice, true, false questions, things of that nature, where they will be able to really begin to draw the conclusions that each of these modules, each of these elements of the interpersonal relationship life cycle impact the other, and how they do that. Again, quiz for this module as well, but this time the reflection at the end will be a bit more comprehensive. What the participants will be asked to do in this case will be to write a more comprehensive reflection that provides an example of a relationship that they will now work to improve through better communication, and how they see that improved relationship positively impacting the culture of the larger group. Now, if that's a relationship in their home, with their spouse, significant other, child, parent, I don't know, or a coworker, somebody that they have, a close working relationship, maybe they're on the same team, that kind of thing, or someone within, and then the department in which they work. Maybe there's somebody that, we kind of get mixed signals a lot, and how improving that relationship could maybe go a long way to improving the way that our department functions, things like that. And that's essentially the essence, and really trying to tie it all together and bring it all in to reality, if you will. Again, this is not really based in theory as much as this is actual stuff that we deal with every single day of our lives. And if we can better understand these major components of our day-to-day lives, then we can probably more likely work to improve rather easily, rather simply, these aspects of our day-to-day lives. And again, there will be multiple sources of technology that will be used. Again, the website created through Wix. Videos will be edited, brought together in iMovie. Audacity will help to provide the narration. Snagit, of course, for a lot of the images and links and posts and things of that nature. YouTube for creating videos such as the one that you are watching right now. And Adobe Captivate for the learning module. So as it stands right now, that is the plan. my planning template for my interactive module, EDCI 560. Thanks.